right. Welcome guys to our weekly Uplift Tribe team call. Today is, I don't even know, September 12th. There we go. So excited to be on tonight with you guys. I'm excited about the topic for tonight's call. We're going to be talking about creating a sales funnel in your business, or as I put it in the Uplift Tribe team page, creating a customer pipeline. So whatever you want to call it, that is what we'll be talking about tonight. And really just the easy way of looking at it is getting conversations from, hey, how are you, to them actually jumping into a boot camp. And I think this is a topic that a lot of coaches struggle with. And so I'm excited tonight to kind of talk about my process. I'm going to talk about the big scary, not big scary, but in a sales class, how they would present it to you, but then how it really can look in your Beachbody business. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. Hello, Aaron. I just put you on mute. So that is our topic for tonight. If you have any questions as we're going, just drop them in the chat box over here to the right. And then at the end of the call, this call will probably last 15 to 20 minutes. It's nothing crazy. And then we'll just take the last 15 minutes, whatever, for you guys to ask questions and just kind of honestly talk through what do your conversations look like with people and that sort of thing. So let me just dropping a little note here to remind everybody we're on the call because someone just asked me. So let me just first pull up my notes here for you guys. Sorry, bear with me. Something's happening with my computer today. It's been absolutely crazy. Okay, there it went. Cool. So first off, I want to say welcome to all of our new coaches who are on the call tonight. There's several people on here. Brittany, Ashton, I'm just so excited to have you guys on the team, and welcome to your first team call. So you never know how many people are going to be on here. Some nights we have 7, some nights we have 15. So it's kind of, just depends on what's happening in people's lives that night. But we always post a recording that way that you don't miss anything. And again, this is just a time for us all to see each other and talk and kind of get to know each other and talk through a specific topic. So like I said, I'll just take this little bit to do, I typically do a topic and talk on it. We'll have guest speakers, that sort of thing. And then we'll take the last 10, 15 minutes just to go through questions that you guys have or any thoughts or anything like that. So all right, so let's talk about what is a sales funnel. So a sales funnel, if you just look up the definition, is really about the buying process that companies lead customers through. So it's really this sales funnel that goes from, awareness to interest, to decision, to actual action. And every company has a little bit different way of doing that. But tonight, just for talking about Beachbody, we're going to talk specifically about what I think is the important kind of sales funnel that you're using in your business and how I typically kind of what my sales funnel is. And we're going to talk a little bit about just tracking that sales funnel and how you are specifically placing people and looking at your customers. So let's go ahead and jump in here. So I just kind of mentioned, so at the top of your sales funnel is typically going to be awareness, okay? And so awareness can really be anything from your Instagram to your blog to a YouTube channel. There's so many different ways that you can draw awareness of what you are doing. So for me, for instance, and why so many of you probably use Instagram is because that's been kind of my bread and butter. So, Instagram has really been my main marketing tool that I have used to draw awareness to my brand. Yes, I have a blog. Yes, I have Pinterest and I do pins on there and things like that. But my main source of how I draw awareness of my brand is through Instagram. And so I do this by, having daily posts where I am pouring into people without them necessarily opting in for anything or buying something or having to give me their email. I'm building trust with them through my Instagram account. I'm posting content that is relatable to them, that they get. I am just giving away free things on my blog. If you go to fitforsglory.co, you'll see that I have a 14-day devotional that they can drop their email and they receive that for free in their inbox. So there's a lot of different ways that I am drawing awareness of what I do. Sometimes people may follow me for months and months and months and have no idea that I host monthly virtual boot camps. You know, they may not know these things about me, but I'm building awareness around my brand, because then when I do put out that I have the Finding Balance boot camp coming up, and I'm posting pictures and before and afters and progress photos and testimonials of customers, all of a sudden, guess what? People are interested. So that's the next step in your sales funnel. First, you have awareness, or I guess like this, awareness. It's literally a funnel, right? Awareness. You want to build that awareness around your brand. And we'll talk a little bit about like other ways that you can do this in a second. But the second thing is that interest, right? So all of a sudden, people who are aware of your brand, they know what you do, they see you talking about it on Insta stories, they see you talking about your customers that you're working with, they see you sharing those progress photos. All of a sudden, those people are interested in what you're doing. And so interest is literally just simply could be them posting, yes on a poll that you post. It could be them reaching out to you. It could be them filling out a form. It is really important that you have a lot of different ways that people can contact you. And so for me, on my website, which by the way, you can create a website for free. If you use Weebly, that's what I started out on. Weebly, it's Weebly. I had a free account on there for a really long time. It wasn't until about a year ago that I ended up paying $99 for an entire year, just because I wanted to do more customizable stuff to it. And then just recently, I actually haven't even announced this yet, but my new website just went live yesterday. And so I had a brand new website built just because I wanted something a little more in depth. But, on there from day one, I just had a virtual boot camps tab or, challenge groups tab, whatever you call it. And that was a place where people could go and learn about like, what is a boot camp or what is a challenge group? And they could fill out a form if they were interested. The second way that I do that, you don't need those fancy things. The second thing that you could do is build a Google form. So build a form on Google Forms. They're totally free. These are what top coaches use. There's a coach named Amber Kuiper who is a part of Team Iron, and she is literally number 14 in the business, and she still uses Google Forms and doesn't have a website. There's not like a need to have those fancy things. I just wanted one because I wanted to be able to blog about some things. But you can literally just create a Google form and then put the link for that Google form in the bio of your Instagram account. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can have a link tree and have multiple forms. You can just, ask them to drop their email address, ask them to drop their favorite emoji. Most of the time I have found though that people who go to the Google form and actually fill out the entire form tend to be the people who are the most interested. For whatever reason, it seems like when I poll people and people mark yes, a lot of times when I message them, they just don't message back. But when you've got that form and it kind of walks them through some specific questions like, what have you tried in the past? What's worked for you? Ask them, also questions just about themselves, like where are you from? Tell me a little bit about yourself. What is your career? What is your job? Just ask them some of those questions. Again, just look at my Google form and ask the same questions I ask. But this really gives you a chance to read up on that person before you reach out to them. Because that's the next thing, is that once they mark that they're interested, you have to really present the decision to them, right? And so that's the next part of the funnel, is that they have to then make a decision. So awareness, now they're interested, and now it's decision time. And you have to present the information to them, right? In order for them to make that decision to decide if they are going to be in for this boot camp, you have to present this information. And you've got to get creative, and you've got to try different ways. If you're on this call and you have not sold a challenge pack, you are doing something wrong. Like there's a brokenness. Oops, hang on. Sorry, that was crazy. Okay. There's something broken in the conversations that you're having. And so let's talk through that. Like that's what I'm here for you guys for. It's like, okay, if you're having a conversations with 20 different people and you send all of them information on the Finding Balance Bootcamp, if every single person doesn't reply back, then we need to evaluate what that email looks like, right? And it's okay. Like it's nothing to beat yourself up about. I've had to figure this out on my own. I've had to play around with a lot of different ways of presenting information to people. And what I found was for myself is that a lot of times if the email was shorter, people tended to get back to me. If I made an ebook about the boot camp, People tended to get back to me more if I, just kept everything short and sweet and included the pricing information inside of the booklet instead of just putting it in the email. People tended to read it more and be like, yes, I'm in, I want this package. So you kind of have to play around with things and figure out what your customers, how they want to receive this information, because that decision process is so important, and how they view what you're presenting to them is so important. And so you want to make sure that you're really thinking about the customer when you think about how they're receiving the information. The other thing is, when they're filling out the form, you should always ask for their Instagram handle or their Facebook link, because a lot of times, and I actually was looking at these stats earlier, but a lot of times people will just not email you back. And it's not that they don't even want to do it. It might just be that they didn't even see the email. I don't know about you guys, but I have one particular email address where I subscribe to a million things. And that's the email address that, I get all my subscription emails. So if I go on somewhere and I fill out a form and I put clinefoster@gmail.com, guess what? I'm not going to see that email. Like if a coach reached out to me, I'm not going to see it because I don't even check that email that often. And so having their Instagram account or their Facebook account allows you to go and follow up with them. I actually read a stat, and I'm just going to pull it up here really quick because I had it pulled up. But it's amazing how many people just don't follow up with people. So let's see here. 44% of people give up after one follow-up. So a lot of people don't even follow up with people. Like if you're sending emails to people and you say, hey, I want to tell you all about the Finding Balance Bootcamp, and you're not following up with them, or maybe you're just following up with them once, that's crazy, because so many times 80% of sales that actually end up in a sale required 5 follow-ups. 5, guys. I know that sounds crazy, and it's just like, I don't want to have to follow up with people that many times. But here's the deal. If you just give up after one time, you will never seal the deal. You've got to follow up with people. Follow up with them on Instagram. Say, hey, Ashton, I saw your email come through. I sent you over the information. I just wanted to make sure you got it. And see if they get back to you. If they don't get back to you, send them a Facebook message. Hey, Ashton, I thought I'd try messaging you here on Facebook. I sent you an Instagram message. I sent you an email. I don't want to bother you, but I'm holding a spot for you. And I was just wondering if you could let me know if you're in or you're out. Present it like that. Like, I'm holding a spot for you. Can you just let me know, because I have other people who are interested. Again, a few days later, if you don't hear back from them, 2 or 3 days later, hey, just following up to be sure you got my email below. Like, it's crazy, but follow up is key. My husband is in sales. He has seen this himself. You have got to follow up with people. People will give you, it's not even, like I said, that they don't want to do it. A lot of times they're just not in a place where in the moment they can, go in and press the order, or they're just not in a place where, maybe they get paid on Friday and it's Wednesday and they kind of want to wait till Friday. They might think in their head, oh, I'll get back to her on Friday. But then Friday comes and goes and they totally just forget. And so it's not even that people necessarily don't want our products and our services or our challenge groups or whatever it is that we're offering them. It's just that they forgot. Like, honestly, they forgot. We're all busy women on this call tonight. We all have a lot on our plate. And so unless it's a huge priority to us, we may forget to reply back to people too. But if they follow up with us and they remind us, I don't know about you guys, but I have to have like the dentist remind me like 2 or 3 times that I have an appointment. Otherwise, I'm probably going to forget. Like, that's kind of embarrassing to say, but it's just true. There's a reason that the doctor literally texts you and calls you like 3 times before your pediatric appointment, right? They don't want you to not show up. And they know that follow-up is key. If they didn't hear back from you the first time, they're going to try again. And then they're going to try with a text message reminder. And then they're going to call you again. And they're going to send a voice message reminder. I mean, like, they'll do everything to remind you that you have that appointment. And so we have to have that same grit and same, like, just chasing after people. And I know that sounds scary and kind of like, oh, I don't want to have to do that with people, because if they want it, wouldn't they just say it? But again, we're busy people. We have a lot on our plates. And so sometimes it's not that we don't want it, but maybe we're just hesitant. Maybe we're thinking about it. Maybe we're just busy and we honestly just forgot. But it's up to you to make sure you're presenting that information to them correctly and that you're following up with them. And so just go ahead and make a decision right now that you're going to commit to following up with your customers. So I thought I'd take a second now to just give you an example of what my conversations with people look like. And I'm going to use a real example. I'm going to talk specifically about the Finding Balance Bootcamp, which I have happening right now. And I'm going to give you guys 3 examples of how I get people from here, the hello, the how's it going, to literally placing their order. So first thing I always do is I have multiple ways that I am kind of driving engagement. So for instance, with this Finding Balance Bootcamp that we are promoting right now, so my teams, my specific personally sponsored coaches, and any of their downline, we have a kickoff of the second phase happening on October 1st. And so right now we are just really trying to get those conversations going. And so I did a few different things. Number one, I set up a landing page on my website. So I just have a little tab. Again, you guys can do this for totally free on Weebly.com. Go and create you one. But it just gives a legit look to it. You can also use Google Form. Again, that's what I've been using for a long time as well. I kind of go back and forth, but since I have my new website, I'm kind of excited about it. So I'm using that right now. But you can just create a Google Form. It can be something super simple. And again, you want to place this in your bio, and just as you're posting about it on Instagram stories or whatever, you can say, hey, if you're interested, go sign up, go fill out that form, and I will get you information. So that's thing number one, kind of having that place where people can fill out the form. Thing number 2 is if you have a link tree, I created an info group for the Finding Balance Bootcamp. I think that every single coach, if you were hosting a challenge group, you should create an info group. All I did was I broke up the email that I typically send people into basically I think it was 5 posts. The first post was just about what is the Finding Balance Bootcamp. The second post was what is Lift For, and just had a YouTube video. The third post was about the different packages. I think it was the third post. Oh, the third post was transformation photos. Like, this is Lift For and this is how it's helped people. And then the last post, I guess it was 4 posts, was the packages that they could choose from. And so I broke down 3 different packages. I made a little graphic on canva.com, which if you don't use Canva for creating graphics, you should, because that's how I make all of my graphics. Canva's amazing. And so I just created a little graphic on there, and it basically broke down what is the challenge pack. I think a lot of times coaches just don't have a lot of confidence in the challenge pack and realize how amazing of a deal it is. The challenge pack is honestly the best deal in fitness, in my opinion. I had a friend over today who is helping me with some creative stuff, and she is a big CrossFit guru, and she was taking a look at our challenge packs because she's creating some stuff for you guys. And she said, wow, this is a really good deal for an entire year. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I always thought Beachbody was expensive. And I was like, no, girl. And she's like, I pay $150 a month for CrossFit. And I was like, yep, see? And I just think that a lot of times we forget to tell our customers that this is for an entire year. Like, make sure you're giving them that information. Like, this isn't just once a month. I can't tell you guys how many times I've talked to people who have thought that it's $150 a month to be in a challenge group. Like, they look at that number and they just think, oh my goodness, that's for just this challenge group for that 8 weeks or that month. But no, like, this is a year of fitness. And so make sure that you are breaking that information down. So I put that post in there as well. And I kind of broke down how much the challenge pack saves them money. Because if you were to go and buy Shakeology for $129 or $130, and then you went and bought a year of Beachbody On Demand, where you're already at $230 plus the portion control containers, plus the shaker bottle, plus the bands, like, all of that stuff adds up. And so I actually put on this graphic how much that was, which that graphic is in our Google Drive, our team Google Drive. So if you need the link to that, I can post it below of the recording tonight. But giving them that information, allowing them to see the full picture, right? Because you want them to really understand that. So that was the second thing I did. I created that info group. And the third thing that I did was I have been creating polls. And so if you go look at my Instagram right now, you'll see that 2 days ago I did a poll, or no, Saturday I did a poll when we finished the boot camp, and I said, are you interested in the female, like the women's only group or the couples group? And then on Monday, when we took our progress photos, I posted our progress photos, And then I did a poll, 2 polls actually, 1 poll after I posted the progress photos, and then the one after I posted a little bit more information about the boot camp. And basically I just said, are you ready to jump in round 2? Yes, no. And then this morning I did another poll, and I also said swipe up. So once you have 15,000 followers, you can swipe up. You have the swipe up option, but otherwise you would just say, head to the link in my bio. And I had tons of people just fill out the link. So just creating multiple places where people can go and give you their information and you can reach out to them. And so tonight I went through and messaged all those people from the poll and just asked them for their email address. And then I also had a lot of requests for the info group. So they could request to join the info group. And I simply just put questions in there where it asked them when they went to requested to join the group, who's your coach? Have you done a Beachbody program before? That kind of thing, just so I can make sure I'm not stealing customers from anyone. If there was someone who worked with another coach, I don't want to take customers. And so asking them those sorts of questions. So having multiple places where people can go and learn about what you are doing. That's just really, really important. So that has been kind of my I guess, first or second step with the Finding Balance Bootcamp is I created all that stuff, and then I've had a lot of calls to actions. And so what now happens is that I message all of those people, and I am just basically waiting to hear back from them. But a couple of them have already messaged me back, and I told them, I sent them the email, the people who fill out the form, I sent them an email, and the email simply says, and actually just read a little bit of it to you guys, not totally, but just to kind of give you guys an idea. And again, I just kind of wrote this out and then copy and pasted it and sent it to them. But I basically just told them I was really excited about having them. If they were drawn to the group, I knew that they were ready to do it, that we would be doing strength, cardio, and core workouts, and kind of just told them a little bit about how the group would work, that it would be happening on Facebook, and that they would have me as their coach for the next year since they were committing to a year of fitness. And so I broke down everything, and then I included the packages that they could choose from in the email. And so what I plan to do is on, I guess, in 2 or 3 days, probably on Saturday or maybe Sunday, since we're heading to the beach tomorrow, I will send follow-up emails to all of them if I haven't heard back from them, and just saying, hey, Hannah, I just wanted to follow up and see that you got my email. I would love to have you in the boot camp. I'm saving a spot for you right now, so if you can just please let me know. So just following up with them is so important again. And a lot of times, especially on the weekends, that's a great time to follow up because a lot of people are checking their Instagram and checking their messages. And that tends to be a time when they will get back to you. And so that's kind of what my conversations look like right now. I did already sell a few of those challenge packs. Not immediately. This has been happening over the last few days. Those challenge packs were simply sold from my conversations that I'm having every single day. And so every day I make it a goal to message 25 people who are watching my stories or who are new followers or who are people who are filling out polls. So I just did a poll tonight. And this sounds so simple because it's like, well, Caroline, that has nothing to do with fitness. But tonight I did a poll and I actually just said, heading to the beach in the morning, and I am totally an overpacker. Are you an overpacker or an underpacker? And so people fill out the poll, and lots of people are voting that they're totally an overpacker. And so what I do is go through those 77 people who already marked that and message them and be like, girl, I am so glad that you get me and that you're a total overpacker as well. And just simply start a conversation that way. So every day I'm trying to just talk to 25 people. I don't know these people, guys. I don't know them. They found my Instagram because either I started following them through Risen Motherhood or some other podcast or somebody that I follow that I really like. So maybe they saw my Instagram that way, or maybe they saw it from hashtags, whatever. But I go through and I message 25 people a day and just start conversations. The people who are the best coaches are not necessarily the people, again, who have a 6-pack of abs or who are crazy knowledgeable about fitness. Honestly, most people don't want to work with someone who is a fitness expert. They want to work with people who have gotten results and who had to lose weight and who they can see their progress photos and see they're a real person who still likes to enjoy treats every now and then. And it's really more about the best coaches are people that have a lot of conversations, and that's just the truth. And so whether it's conversations with people you know or people you do not know, I've said this before, but I started out this business working on my cold market before I even worked on my warm market. I worked my cold market for 3 years of trying to get those people converted over to my warm market, like people I did not know. They're like, I feel like really in the last year is when like my warm market, like my good friends who were already in my life started to jump in. I wasn't that person who came into the business and sold their first challenge back to their mom. If you do, that is amazing, but that just wasn't my business. And so for me, I have honestly built my entire business on Instagram, but it's all about connecting with people. And it all starts with that, putting good content out and just that attraction marketing, like we talked about in the beginning, of like that awareness of your brand. And I know that you guys, if you're walking through the Holy Hustle Academy, or you have in the past, there, I think it was 2 days ago, we did a branding call of just talking about like, what is your brand, and making sure that your content lines up with that, because that's going to be, guys, what that awareness and that brand awareness, that's going to be what drives your business and just helps people be able to relate to you. You guys are never going to see my Instagram feed. You're never going to see me be like Beachbody threw up on it, right? Like, I'm not against that, but I'm just not like, I want to attract people to, I want it to be a brand, right? Like in my mind, I think about Fit for His Glory over here and Beachbody over here. And Beachbody is a part of Fit for His Glory. And I think it's like the main part, obviously, or besides Jesus. But, you know, I want to serve people and love on them, even if they don't commit to a challenge group. And so if I'm building my brand and putting really great content out there, like people are going to come, and then I can have those conversations with them and say, hey, well, you know, like, because a lot of times what happens, so for instance, the poll that I posted tonight, if I went in and was messaging these people, which just happened the other day, so I'm going to use this as an example for you guys. But the other day I had posted a poll, and I simply said, it was something on motherhood. And I basically just said, what are your kids? It was, let me just pull it up. I said, mamas of little ones, what is your kiddo loving right now? Because Emmeline was playing with a light switch, had nothing to do with fitness, but I had a ton of people comment. And so I messaged them and just said, oh my goodness, like, I love that your kid, like one girl said her kid was obsessed with her boobs because she's breastfeeding right now. And I was like, that's hilarious. Like, been there, done that, you know? And it just started a conversation. And then she ended up saying, hey girl, I've been meaning to message you. I would love to jump on the phone with you and just talk about coaching. And I was like, all right, girl. So we jumped on the phone 2 days. It was either yesterday or the day before. And we caught up and talked about coaching, and she's thinking about joining our team. But that whole conversation, like, it just kind of re-sparked that conversation, right? Like, I knew that girl, but only through Instagram because we've talked before, and she wasn't interested at the time. But now all of a sudden we're having this mommy conversation, and then we're talking about it. So, you know, you just never know the kinds of things that are just going to bring up conversation. And a lot of times it's more about that. And sometimes when you try to be the expert who's like talking about like, well, if you drink more water and this and that, like those things are great, right? And we want to be that as well. But a lot of times it's the things that make you, your cat or your dog or this or that make you actually more relatable. And so those are just some small examples for you guys of kind of how I literally get people from hello, how are you, to actually purchasing a challenge pack. I will say too, just before I open it up to questions or thoughts or whatever, that Share Cart is amazing. If you're not using it, you should be. Erin has been so kind to do a few trainings for us this week. And one of the trainings that she did at the end of last week was just how she signs people up, coaches, as discount coaches. And so that's how she's really had a lot of luck building her team. And I just think that's brilliant. And the way that she words it is just so like open and transparent, and just, hey, I'm really trying to help you get a discount, which is the honest truth, right? And so I love that. I totally don't know where I was going with that. It just left me. Oh, with Share a Cart, you can easily do that. When you're sending someone, you're creating their cart for them. You can easily go ahead and plug in their information and everything that they need, so that when they receive their cart, they can easily check out. And that's another thing that's really important when it comes to your sales funnel, is that you're making sure that that you have that follow through, that you're sending it to them. And then the great thing about Share a Cart is that you can then track who's opened the email. So you can literally see who's opened it, who purchased, or who like just looked at it or maybe never opened it. So that's a really great thing as well, because it can help you really keep track of your people. Now, the last thing I will say really quickly, and then again, we'll open up to questions, is tracking is key, guys. And so with this sales funnel, there's a couple different things out there that you can use. Google Streak is amazing. It is totally free, and you can actually color code people and where they are in your process. So if they are oh, I just want information, like if there's someone who's on your list, or if there's somebody who is a prospect, if there's somebody who you've already sent information to, you can literally color code where they are in your sales funnel, which is amazing. There's also something called Teamsy where you can do something similar as well. We actually use just a Google spreadsheet that we created, and that's kind of how we keep up with all of our people, and that's really been the easiest way for us to kind of keep people through the process in my business. But there's a lot of great ways that you can just keep up with your people. So I hope this is helpful. I would love to open it up to questions if anybody has anything. I see that there's some stuff in the chat. What's the graphic company again? Can you spell it? Yes, it is called Canva.com. And it's amazing, y'all. Like, it's free and you can create anything you wanted to. Like, I've created ebooks on there. Like my 14-day devotional I created, I did it on there. All of my graphics that you guys see, I create everything on there. All of our team calendars, all of that stuff. It's just really, really great. Jasmine had already replied. Sorry, I just saw that. What have you done Zoom or virtual workouts with customers or our team where you all Zoom in the same time and do work? Yes. I think that's a great idea. And I would love to do that. I'm still trying to, so I tried it one time, only once, I'll be honest. And some people do like the miracle morning and then they do the workout. I personally just didn't really like being on Zoom with everyone while I was trying to do my devotional because it was distracting. But I could jump on. The only thing that in the past was that a lot of people were working out at different times. So I think if we're all working out, or if we had different waves where people are working out, I think that's a great idea. And if we opened it up to all of our challengers as well. So for those of you who have no idea what Tara is talking about, it's there's a lot of teams will do Zoom. So just like this. But every morning when you're getting your workout in, you can just pull this up and it's like accountability of good morning team. We're all working out together. Not really working out together, but we can see each other. And it's okay, cool. I have someone cheering me on while I'm getting my workout done. Tara, have you done that before? Oh, I think you're on mute. Let me unmute you. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I have not. I've just seen other people doing it, and I thought that it was really cool especially for accountability. Mm-hmm. And then you can share what you're doing with other people too.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, let's give it a try. I know we have a lot of different time zones and stuff, but I think if we open it up to our virtual boot camps and stuff like that, and we tell those ladies they can hop on, that's a great way, like you said, to hold each other accountable. What time do you usually work out?
5:30.
5:30. Is that, what time zone is that?
Central.
Okay. I work out we usually get up at 5:15, but we don't go out to the garage till 5:45. But I could if you hopped on and opened up the Zoom or whatever, then, as people wake up, we could all hop on.
Yeah.
We can talk offline about it. That'd be cool. I like it.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. Okay, Aaron asked a great question. How do you move those overpacker conversations into convos about a challenge group? Great question, Aaron. So I'll just go through example. So I would go through my poll and basically, okay, sorry. So basically I would go on my poll and just say that I had a goal of sitting 25 conversations. I would go to that poll and then I would message them and say, let's just use, who do I want to use as an example? Hey, Elise. So I would message her and be like, hey, Elise, I am so glad that, you're an overpacker too, or I'm so glad that someone gets me. What do you I don't know, what do you tend to overpack on? Or maybe just ask a fun question, or I'm so glad that there's someone else who gets me, and just leave it at that. And then she might message back and be like, oh yeah, girl, like I always overpack shoes, you know, which I know Elise well enough to know that she always overpacks shoes. But she's probably laughing right now. Gotcha. But you know, maybe she messaged back and be like, oh girl, I always overpack shoes. And I'm like, yeah, well, I got all like, you know, like it's just moving the conversation along. It's literally just like you're talking to your best friend. It's not this like, oh, I'm going to be a sales robot. Like, it's just like, I'm talking to my friend, you know, I'm talking to someone who, so even if it's somebody I've never even met or I've never even talked to. So for me, typically that's kind of how it looks. It's like, we just kind of have a conversation. And then typically, if, you know, we might start talking about something else and I might say, oh, well, so where do you guys live? We get into that conversation. And then, you know, and it sounds like, okay, well, this could take 20 days for the time, this whole conversation. But like a lot of times it kind of comes to that stall. And I'm like, well, it was so great talking to you, girl. If you ever need anything in your health and fitness journey, please let me know. And that's how I typically just round it out with everybody is just telling them like, hey, it was so great talking to you. Like, again, I love that you're an overpacker too. I'm glad you get me. And thanks again for supporting me, or thanks so much for following along on my Instagram. However you feel comfortable kind of rounding out that conversation. And you don't need to necessarily write these people's names down either, by the way. You don't really need to write their names down or put them into your tracker until you start talking about a challenge group. So I used to track every single person I was talking to, and I'm like, no, I ain't got time for that, right? So what I do now is I just have a notebook and I do tally marks. So I'm like, okay, start a conversation there, start a conversation there. And again, it's not an ingenuine thing where I'm like, this person's a number. It's just so I can make sure that I have that accountability of making sure I'm talking to enough people every day. There's a I've shared this with you guys before, but there is a formula for basically sales. And basically it says that for every 10 people you talk to, one of those people will actually turn into someone who potentially ends up buying. And so if you have a goal of hitting Success Club 10 every month or Success Club 5, then you need to be talking to at least 30 people a week if you want to sell 3 challenge packs, right? And the chances are, especially when you first start out, it's probably going to be actually less than that. And because you're just learning how to present the information. And so keep that in mind, that you want to make sure you're having enough conversations with people. And you don't need a lot of followers to do that. You could have 50 followers and that should be enough for that month for you to hit Success Club. But a lot of times, again, it's in the follow-up, it's following up with people. It's like, you know, making sure that they got the email and that they don't have questions, and, you know, telling them like, hey, if you have any questions, like, please let me know. I'm an open book. So I think a lot of times we overthink it, but again, just think like you're talking to your best friend. And maybe this is just the Southern personality in me of like, I talk too much, but get nosy, ask them questions, like get to know them like you care about them, because you should, you know? And so I think if you will do that with people, it'll move that conversation in that direction. And again, you know, maybe you even get to a point where you say, hey, well, it sounds like you're a busy mom too. Just so you know, I have the Finding Balance boot camp coming up. Would you want information? You can spin it that way as well. So just look for those little pockets in there where you can ask those questions. Erin, does that help you at all? Are you there, Erin? Yep. Erin, you're totally unmuted, I think. Oh. She may be putting her baby down. So hopefully, oh, yes, nursing a baby. Okay, no problem. Okay, perfect. I'm glad that helps. Is there anything else with that? You can just drop in the comment if you have any more questions. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I have a quick question.
Yes. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi. That video that Erin had posted about making the discount coaches, like just pretty much signing up everybody. I'm like kind of like back and forth, like, should I do that? Because like, what if I hit like Success Club or get like all these coaches and then like the next month they all cancel? So is it like almost kind of pointless to do that?
No. I mean, because here's the deal. This is how I see it personally. And I'll be honest, I didn't do that I I really just started doing that as well. Because for a long time, I feel like I didn't present the opportunity to people as much as I probably should have. And the thing is that like, a lot of times, like, people were just confused and they didn't understand like what the option was in their head when I told them like, oh, well, you can become a coach if you want and get 25% off. And when I try to explain it out and gave them an option of it, a lot of times it just seemed like people like thought that I was trying to force them into becoming a coach. And so I think that the way that Erin worded it and the way that she's been wording it with people is really smart, and honestly open and honest. Like, she's following up with them halfway through the month. She's letting them know that they're paying $15 a month, but that they're going to get 25% off. Because here's the thing. If I'm a challenger and I purchase a challenge pack, I'm automatically set up for Home Direct Shakeology, and I'm going to receive an email next month. I'm going to receive an email from Beachbody, and it's going to say, hey, just so you know, your order is going to go through in 3 days. If you do not want this, you need to contact Beachbody and let them know. At the same time that they contact Beachbody, if they decide that they don't want the Shakeology, they can cancel, and they can also cancel coaching at that same time. So when they call, her following up with them halfway through the month and letting them know, hey, just a reminder that $15 charge is going to hit your account. This is what it's for, and letting them know and being open and honest about it, like, I think is smart. Because the thing about it is that a lot of companies do have preferred customer programs. So for instance, I'm going to use oils as an example. doTERRA and Young Living both sign you up as a distributor when you purchase their starter kit, which is basically like our challenge pack. So when you purchase a starter kit with doTERRA or Young Living, you automatically become a distributor. So you could start selling from that day. I mean, you're automatically a coach like we are. That's what they do with every single person. You can't purchase that starter pack without becoming a distributor. And so it's really pretty much the same thing. It's just we don't have a preferred customer. We just have coach and then customer. It does make sense. So, yeah. I mean, in the long run, you are saving people money, and most people, it's kind of a proven thing. So Beachbody will send you stats every few months on how many of your customers are staying on Shakeology. And it's pretty much proven that most customers stay on it for at least 2 to 3 months after a challenge group. Your goal is for them to stay on it, obviously, much longer than that, but they're saving money. So I don't feel like you're helping them save money. Like, they're paying $15, but they're saving like $30 or in some cases $45. So I would just say, like, on the Google form, you can put on there, are you interested in saving 25% off of your, order? And for me, like 90% of the time, people mark yes. And that's when you can just sign them up as a coach and tell them in the email, I went ahead and put in there. And guess what? They can email you back. If they don't want that, they can email you back. I had the same thing happen with a girl this week. I said that in the email. She emailed me back and said, hey, I really don't want to become a coach yet. Like, she was just very apprehensive. I said, girl, it's totally fine. I'll edit your order right now. I went in, took that off, resent her share card. So it's not like you're sending it to them and you're not telling them. Does it make sense? Like, you're spelling it out for them.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they cancel, then they cancel. In my opinion, it's like, well, right now you have no coach. You know what I'm saying? So why it, like, for instance, let me just use an example, like with this girl, it's like, okay, she's not a coach right now. The worst that can happen is that she signs up to become a coach and she cancels. I'm back to where I started from. So, like, what's the worst that can happen? And that's kind of how I think about everything. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Number one, half of these people I'm probably never even going to see them in person. So if they don't like me or they stop following me, like, so be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm probably never going to meet them. They probably don't know anybody I know. And, second of all, like, I'm back to where I started, right? Like, if they say no, and they're like, no, and they just shut me down. I mean, yeah, it stinks. And after a while, it would be kind of annoying if nobody said yes. But at the same time, I'm still back to where I started from. So even if I follow up with them 3 or 4 times and I never hear back from them, at least I can say I did everything I could to try to get to where I wanted to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what Brian told me whenever I started this business. He's like, okay, Caroline, like, the worst that can happen is that someone says no and you're back to where you started from. And I'm like, that is just so true, because we get so scared of things and we just talk ourselves up and we're like, oh, I just don't know. We just get so emotional and dramatic about it. And it's like, okay, at the end of the day, number one, never going to see these people again. Number two, like, I'm not here to be a blogger on Instagram and for every single person just to love me. If they don't like Beachbody, that's fine. They don't have to follow me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to run a business, and yes, I want to serve people in health and fitness. Like, I want to point them to Jesus. Like, obviously that's my goal. But if I'm not everyone's cup of tea, that's okay. I literally had a girl message me today who has been a challenger for quite a while, and she wanted someone to hold her hands a little bit more. And she messaged me and told me she had transferred over to another coach. That's fine. I had to have thick skin about it, even though it really kind of hurt my feelings at first. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? That's great. I'm so glad that she has somebody, because she wanted someone who could like Zoom with her once a week and like really pour into her in that sense. And I can't do that physically. Like I have too much going on. And so that you have to have thick skin with it, because you're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea, you know?
Very true. I feel like when I first started this, I would take everything so seriously, or even beforehand, I would be terrified to even make phone calls with people, talk to people. And I jumped into this already knowing like, oh, you know what? I totally want to do this because I need to get out of my shell. And now I'm like, I don't care what this girl thinks about me. I could care less. It's crazy how much my mindset has changed. And it's only been a couple of months. So
that's awesome though. Well, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I know that what I'm doing, I feel good about what I'm doing. I know that these products work. Like someone can tell me all day long that Shakeology is a scam. And I'm like, no, it's not, because I know, like, I've experienced it with my body. Like, I see the difference. Like, I've met the creators of it, like literally talked to them. You know, I've been on calls with them, heard them talk all about the ingredient. Like, people just don't like, people just want to make up things and make themselves feel better about things. And I don't know. So anyways, another story for another day. Anybody else? Well, I hope this was helpful.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was that website you said that you started? It was free. Was it Weebly?
Yeah. So it's called Weebly.com. I just put it in there. I started there and it was great. Like, I even did a blog post all about Shakeology. And then every time that someone would ask me a question about it, I would just send them that link and say, here's all the information on Shakeology, like things like that, just to make my life easier. That way I didn't have to explain it out to every single person, you know? Hi, will you post the Google Drive? Yes, everybody will have access to it. So Brittany just asked about the Google Drive. I've been struggling with visuals to present the info too. Yes. And then also I'm really excited because Caitlin, who is my friend, that she lives here and she does some creative stuff for me. She just built my new website. We're rolling out a few new things. But one of the things that she's working on right now is a actual visual, Brittany, that is going to break down each challenge pack and tell them, also give them examples of like CrossFit costs this much, Pure Barre costs this much, spin classes cost this much, and break down for them how much a month Beachbody On Demand costs. And then she's also going to put on there how much people spend at Starbucks, because Shakeology, if you break it down, is like, it's $120. It basically comes out to being like $4 a day for a serving. And a lot of people go to Starbucks every single day and spend like $4 to $5. But obviously Shakeology is way healthier. Or else they go to the smoothie bar. So she's also going to put like juice bar on there too, because I know that's really big here. And so the kind of the comparisons. So she's going to create a really cool graphic that then you guys can send out to your challengers that really breaks it down and shows them the price comparisons and stuff. So that's coming as well, which I'm super excited about. Awesome. And actually, Ashton, I think, wasn't it you, Ashton, who was like, you should put Starbucks comparisons on there? Oh, wait, I think you're muted. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry. It was my idea to do the Starbucks thing because I was reading about Shakeology and how it like helps reduce cravings, like sugar cravings, and like that's my struggle, no, for sure. And like I worked at Starbucks and I had people come in and buy like Frappuccinos every single morning, and literally they were spending like $6 a day on Starbucks every day of the year. It was so crazy, like all the things that I saw. So knowing that you're like Shakeology could replace that, and like, because people that I feel like you have to have like really smart, reasonable like counter arguments when people say like, oh, it's too expensive and they just want to write it off. And you could be like, well, actually, you know, the average person spends this much per week on like frivolous, unhealthy, you know, choices. And Shakeology is a really good way to lose weight and like not make those choices anymore. And like, you'll actually end up saving money. So I think that's
really good. I totally agree. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I'll have her add like some statistics on there because that's a great idea as well. Instead of just even being like the breakdown, you know, just the statistics of like, this is how much the average person spends.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being on. It was so good to see all of your beautiful faces. I love it. And we will see you guys next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everybody.